You're dreaming of retiring in Las Vegas? Well, you're not alone. Las Vegas is becoming one of the top destinations for retirees, offering an exciting lifestyle, tax benefits, and world-class amenities. In this ultimate step-by-step guide, I'm going to show you how to choose between traditional neighborhoods and 55-plus communities to find your perfect fit. We're going to break down the cost of living and healthcare considerations, and I'm going to reveal some insider tips to make your retirement smooth and stress-free. My name's Micah Bleecher, and I've lived in Las Vegas for more than 20 years. I love living in Las Vegas, and I love helping people enjoy their retirement years in this amazing city. By preparing now, you can set the stage for a vibrant and fulfilling next chapter, making the transition into retirement not just seamless, but truly inspiring. Why retire in Las Vegas? Well, Las Vegas has it all. Beautiful weather, endless entertainment, and financial perks. But what truly sets this city apart are the unique benefits either tailored to retirees or that simply favor retirees. Case in point, tax benefits. Now, Nevada has no personal income tax, no state income tax, and I think a lot of people know that, but that means no tax on your Social Security, no tax on your pension income, and no tax on withdrawals from your retirement accounts. That's huge. Now, Nevada offers several tax advantages that make it an attractive place to live in and do business, making it particularly attractive to retirees because we get to keep more of our money, and that's the bottom line. Now, in addition to no property tax, there's no inheritance tax, no estate tax. That's going to mean a smooth transfer of wealth to your heirs. It's important to many people. And then another thing that is a surprise to a lot of people is how low our property taxes are. Now, property taxes play a crucial role in Clark County, and they go to pay for schools and roads and maintenance and all of this stuff. But the median property tax rate in Clark County is 0.74%. Now, that's much lower than the average median of 0.99. It's almost 25% lower. That's huge. Now, Nevada residents can take full advantage of all of these benefits by having proper estate planning and getting advice from financial planners, CPAs, tax specialists, and I strongly recommend getting that kind of advice. If you need somebody, I have people that I work with, been in town for a long time, feel free to reach out. I will send you some names locally here of attorneys or CPAs that can help you with this part of your financial planning. Now, Nevada does not have specific tax referrals for seniors. However, it does offer deferments for wartime veterans, disabled veterans, surviving spouses, and blind people. So if any of those conditions apply, please check the Clark County website and apply for those benefits. Now, the RTC, our bus service, does offer some senior benefits and specialized senior routes that can help people in some cases, but for the most part, we take Uber. We Uber everywhere we want to go in the evening if we're going out to a show or whatever, and Uber and Lyft, the ride shares work fantastic here in Las Vegas. Now, the other thing that's interesting here is Las Vegas has a very friendly business environment. Speaking of taxes, Nevada imposes no corporate income tax, franchise tax, or inventory tax, and does not tax the issuance or transfer of corporate stock shares. Now, this favorable climate attracts many businesses from all over to move here. Now, why is this important? Many of my clients of retirement age still work. They like to work. Some of them are working part-time, some full-time, some even have moved their businesses here. So that is another very important factor in why Las Vegas is such a popular place. Now, these tax benefits, combined with our favorable climate, growing job market, just contribute to its appeal as a great place to live and work. And then, of course, there's the lifestyle and recreation that everyone's heard about, right? On the Strip, we've got the world-class shows, world-class entertainment, and everything that's going on down there. Plus, we've got world-class outdoor recreation, which a lot of people don't know about. It's all around the valley. Red Rock Canyon for hiking up on the west. You've got Sloan Canyon in the southeast, the Wetlands Park in the center of town. There are places all over, trails, parks, hundreds of parks in Summerlin, hundreds of parks all around town. I think Clark County has about 1,000 miles of hiking trails. So there are outdoor activities everywhere. Retirees can stay as active or relaxed as they like. Now, we weren't a sports mecca when I first moved here, but now we are. We've got the World Stanley Cup champion Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey team. We've got the ladies WNBA champions. We've got the new Las Vegas Raiders here now. They're coming along. And we've got the Oakland A's moving here. They're building a stadium. They knocked down the Tropicana. We're now a sports mecca, and of course we've always had world-class boxing. UFC has been here for a long time, and we have lots of other interesting sports all over town. This town has become a sports mecca. Now there's even talk of Hollywood moving here, so we really are a city that has everything. Now, in addition to all of that, we have easy access to travel. Now whether you're going by airport or by car, heading to California, Utah, or Arizona, traveling is easy. It only takes me 4.5 hours to get to the beach in California. Lots of great day trips by car, Valley of Fire, Zion National Park, Hoover Dam, Grand Canyon, all over the desert Southwest. I've got clients that make this their home base. They've got an RV and a big RV garage, and they travel all throughout the Southwest. This is a great place to live. Now, Las Vegas is affordable when it comes to cost of living if you compare it to big cities like LA, San Francisco, Seattle, New York, and so forth. But housing prices and healthcare costs vary, and we're going to break that all down in the next segment. Now we have a couple of questions to answer. We have to ask the question, are we thinking about a traditional home, a single-story home in a traditional neighborhood, maybe guard gated or country club or whatever, or are we thinking about a active adult community, a 55-plus neighborhood? That's a question that we have to answer. But rest assured, there are low maintenance options no matter which way we go. Now, either way we go, Las Vegas offers options for low maintenance lifestyle, and that's going to just free up time for travel and more energy for working on the things that you like, hobbies. Whatever it is that you choose to spend your time on, you're going to have more of it with a low maintenance lifestyle that's offered here in Las Vegas. Now, before we go on and think about where, in regards to specific areas in town, the choice between a traditional or a 55-plus neighborhood is not a small one. I can't emphasize enough the importance of social connections as we get older. Now, I know plenty of people that make real easy social connections, whether they're in a 55-plus community or otherwise, and don't seem to need the assistance of a social director that they have in those fantastic communities. However, when you quit working, it's not easy. Many people don't realize how difficult this is. Researchers have found that loneliness puts people at greater risk of Alzheimer's and dementia going forward. And it also contributes to high blood pressure, cardiac disease, and other serious medical issues. Loneliness can do this. Now, these 55-plus communities help combat loneliness and the problems that loneliness by providing a built-in social network. Through shared activities and planned spaces, it gives people an opportunity to engage in shared interests. And it provides a supportive environment where residents can easily make connections with others. And that's important. If you're experiencing this, you're not crazy. It really is difficult to make social connections as we get older. Anyway, I'm serious about this, and it's not the last time I'm going to talk about it, but now we're going to move forward to picking an area in town. Summerlin's one of the most popular master plan communities in the country, has been for a long time, and it continues to be popular. And all you have to do is just drive through it to find out why. Everything seems a bit upscale. There's upscale shopping. There are parks all over the place. Everything is well designed and kept nicely, and the area is just beautiful, and a lot of people really like that. Some people kind of like the Henderson vibe. I guess you could say maybe Henderson has a little bit more of a suburban vibe because it's a different city than Las Vegas, although it's a full part of the Las Vegas Valley. Now, over in Henderson, you've got the Anthem areas, you've got McDonald Ranch, you've got Green Valley, and it's just a kind of a different vibe over there that some people prefer. It's something that you need to check out. Some people like North Las Vegas. Now, North Las Vegas has come a long way. It's got an industrial side, and that's something that some people think about, but it's had so much building. People are referring to North Las Vegas as the new north. And so, it keeps kind of going out to the north a lot. And some people refer to North Las Vegas as the new north. Now, anywhere in the north, North Las Vegas or the northwest, you tend to get a little bit more for your money out there. Then, of course, my favorite still, the vintage neighborhoods. I love them. I live in the Section 10 area. There's vintage neighborhoods closer in. We've done videos on Section 10 and the Alta Historic District and the Scotch 80s. And there are vintage neighborhoods all over town if that's what you're interested in. They're all older homes. They either have been remodeled or need to be, but a lot of them have huge yards. So if you need to park a lot of cars, trucks, RVs, you may be interested in one of the vintage neighborhoods. There are many more options for that kind of parking and much better chances of finding one that doesn't have a strict HOA or no HOA at all, possibly, for you to be able to do that. Now, if you're specifically seeking a 55 and older community, you're in luck. We've got more than 28 in town. There are 5 over 55 communities in Summerlin. We've got a video on that. In fact, there's a 6th one getting ready to open up by Taylor Morrison all the way at the top of Alta Drive, so it's going to be very close to the mountains. I'm keeping a very close eye on that. If you're interested in on that early, please reach out and give me a call. It's a Taylor Morrison build. Now, over in Henderson, we've got Sun City Anthem, Del Webb at Lake Las Vegas. You know how much I love that place. There's also over in the north, we've got Sun City Aliante and Ardiante. And so there are over 55 and older age-restricted communities all over town. Some of them are older, some of them are more traditional, some of them are more contemporary and modern. There's just a little bit of something for everyone. Los Prados over on the north side is one of the guard-gated over 55 communities in Las Vegas. It's a little bit older, but the interesting thing about Prados is that it has its own RV parking area right in the neighborhood for people that are interested in that. Now remember, there's tons of things for you to do with your grandkids when they visit. There are family activities all over town that have nothing to do with the Strip or gambling or any of that stuff. Actually, Las Vegas suburbia is a very family-friendly place all over town. Now that we understand why Las Vegas is so popular, let's move on to the next segment and discuss how to plan your retirement budget effectively. Well, friends, now we're at phase 2, the financial planning for Las Vegas retirement. Planning your finances is the foundation of a successful retirement, especially in a city like Las Vegas where costs can vary widely. Well, is Las Vegas expensive to live in? Well, Nevada provides comparable high-quality opportunities at a lower cost, which is why more and more people choose to live here. Now, the primary factors, of course, are housing, which is above average, but again, lower than the big cities. Transportation is relatively low, but gas is a bit high because, well, we buy it from California refineries. Gas is much less expensive in a place like Texas. Healthcare is about average to lower. Utilities moderate to higher, and groceries slightly above average. So when you balance it all out, we're slightly above average. Now, a key point here that I'd like to talk about is housing costs. Now, homes in areas like Summerlin can range widely from about $400,000 all the way up to about 30-something million. Now, Henderson offers a mix of price points, maybe starting a little bit lower, but also in some of the luxury neighborhoods around the edges of Henderson, also in the mega millions, $30-40 million homes out there. Now, North Las Vegas is growing like crazy. Many people call North Las Vegas the New North because so much new building is going on, and they have a lot more space to go. In the north part of the valley, you tend to get a little bit more for your money because it's a little bit less demand right now. Now, 55 and older communities range from around 300 and something thousand for a patio home, all the way up to about 600,000 average, but there are homes that are remodeled on the golf course that can go for $1 million, 1.2. I've seen them as high as $2 million. But typically the over 55 properties don't go for that much. Now, there are some new builds, for example, at Del Webb right now, where all in is around $500,000. It's 400 and something plus the lot and a few extras, and it's right around 500,000. Now, resales over in that neighborhood can cost a little bit more. Now, always remember, there's usually new buyer incentives for people willing to wait to have a house built. Now, the over 55 HOA fees vary greatly. This is something that you have to think about. Now, I've seen them as cheap as $95 or so a month over at Solera in Henderson, and I see them over at Trilogy, another 55 community, the Shea Home Trilogy that's on Hualapai across from Siena next to the Summit Club Billionaires Row. Their HOA fees are over $500. Now, what you get is zero maintenance. They're all contemporary attached homes over there, kind of like townhomes, so there's no outside maintenance, and their programming at Shea is award-winning, so they have a good product, but that is a bit steep for many people. You also have an option of vintage neighborhoods. Many of those have no homeowners association, so if you're wanting to park trucks or big RVs or do something like that, some of these older vintage neighborhoods are great for that. Now, their homes are older, they probably will need a remodel, or perhaps they've already been remodeled, so that is something to think about there. Vintage neighborhoods tend to be closer into town, so they tend to be in very good locations. Now, making the wrong choice here can be very costly. If you don't choose correct the first time, I may have to come back and sell your house and we'll get another one, but then you've got transaction fees and that can be very costly. So it's important to make a good decision the first time through. So all of these options are available. It's just something that you have to think about. Now let's talk about healthcare costs. Las Vegas does have reputable hospitals. They're all around the valley. hospitals and medical care are easily accessible everywhere, there are shortages of doctors in some specialties, and not all of the hospitals around town are award-winning, but they are accessible. However, budgeting not only for healthcare costs, but also health insurance costs is critical. Now let's talk about health insurance. Now, if you're under 65 and you're not on Medicare, you're going to need to have some type of insurance plan, whether it's group or individual. Now, you can always go to a health insurance broker here in town and get an individual plan, or if you have a small business, you might be able to qualify for a group plan. Now, group plans tend to be a little bit better than individual. They tend to have better coverage than the individual plans that I've seen. But it's something that you're going to have to think about and prepare for. Now, I love my doctors, and I have, as you can imagine, I have my own laundry list, as you probably do as well, of medical issues, and I love my doctors, but honestly, I think the best medical care we can get is the self-care that we give ourselves between doctor visits. Now, we've got 1,000 miles of trails here. We've got healthy food choices all over town. We've got the fancy, healthy grocery stores all over town. They're easily accessible by just about anybody. We've got hundreds of parks, 1,000 miles of trails in Clark County. There are gyms on practically every street corner. There are coaches, trainers, all types of fitness professionals all over town. There are opportunities everywhere to stay healthy and fit here in Las Vegas. Now we have to think about everyday expenses. Now, these include utilities, dining, entertainment. Las Vegas does have affordable dining options, but if you eat on the Strip, it's going to be very, very expensive in most cases. And the entertainment costs can add up. It's something to think about. It's important to avoid lifestyle creep. It's important to stick to our budget, and avoid unnecessary luxury expenses as we get older. Now, as you can see here, the cost of living in Las Vegas has gone up a bit, but it's still less than all of the big cities on the coast that we're talking about. All of these cities cost a lot more to live in than Las Vegas. Now, here's a chart that talks about the cost of living in Las Vegas versus the national average. The Las Vegas cost of living is higher than the national average, but our transportation is lower. Healthcare is about even. Utilities and groceries are a little higher. So you can see it's a little bit above average all across the board except for transportation in Las Vegas. So it's something that you have to prepare for. I'm very grateful the state does not have an income tax. That really helps. Now, the actionable tip is to use a retirement calculator to figure out what your living expenses are going to be. Multiply your annual spend by 25 to calculate your nest egg based on the 4% withdrawal rule. Now, this is something that you want to talk to your financial planner about, and typically not your realtor. I highly recommend getting a financial planner, an estate planner, and possibly a tax attorney depending on your situation. Now, once your budget's clear, it's time to choose a neighborhood that fits your lifestyle and your financial goals. Friends, we're on phase 3, and that's choosing the perfect neighborhood or community. Now, Las Vegas has a wide range of traditional neighborhoods and 55+ communities, and each of them have their own personality and amenities. Now we have to answer a few more questions. Are we thinking about Las Vegas, Henderson, North Las Vegas? Of course, we've got the resort vibe in Lake Las Vegas. Do you want a newer home or a new build? Or is an older home okay? Now, new builds will have, of course, young landscaping, smaller yards, smaller homes, but they oftentimes come with builder incentives. So that is something to think about when it comes to saving money. Now, older homes come with oftentimes mature landscaping, bigger yards, maybe more maintenance, but also more established areas and closer in. So it's a trade-off. Now, the older homes, of course, they'll either have to have been remodeled or need remodeling. So that's something also to think about. Now, should you decide on an older home, I have plenty of contractors. I can refer the team that remodeled my house. I've got other contractors that can build homes from the ground up or any small project in between. So I've got people if that's something that you want to take on. Just feel free to reach out, give me a call, and I'm happy to share my contacts anytime. So basically, the 3 cities that make up the valley are North Las Vegas, and Henderson. Now, there are areas that are in unincorporated Clark County. They still have a Las Vegas address, but they're not technically in the city of Las Vegas. So those are the 3 cities that you have within the valley. Then now you have to decide, do you want to live in a master plan community, or you're looking at condos, townhomes, or maybe a luxury high-rise? Are you interested maybe in an urban city center, or are you wanting to be more into the suburbs? Most of the people I get want to be in the suburbs, but there are some very interesting places close to the city center, and I've had clients that move there as well. Are you looking for communities with no homeowners association? That can be good, that can be an issue. It's something that is available here in Las Vegas. And then, of course, all of the 55 plus communities that we have in town are amazing. As I mentioned, there are around 28 55 plus communities in the Las Vegas Valley. Now there are 2 in nearby Pahrump, that's 61 miles away. Not an option for most people, but an option for some, and you definitely get more for your money when you go out. Now there are 7 55 plus communities in Mesquite, and that's 81 miles away. Now I've spent some time in Mesquite. I had a friend that had a second house up there, and it's a nice place. It's kind of golf oriented there. So if you live in Mesquite, it's generally around some golf course there, and it's kind of golf heaven in Mesquite. Now, if you're thinking of 55 plus community, one of the first ones that come to mind is Sun City Summerlin. Now, Sun City Summerlin is the largest 55 plus community in town. It's been established for many, many years. There's 4 clubhouses, huge community, fitness center, 3 golf courses. I mean, Sun City Summerlin is a great choice for many people. Then one of my favorites, Del Webb at Lake Las Vegas. It's got that whole resort community feel every time you're driving around. It's a beautiful man-made lake. I've got videos on Lake Las Vegas, and I just love it every time I go out there. Now there's Sun City Anthem, that's over at Henderson, and again, another big Sun City project, and people really like it in Henderson too. It's a bit more suburban in Henderson, simply because the Strip's in a different city, even though it's in the valley. It just kind of has a little bit more of a suburban feel in Henderson. And then of course there's Sienna. That's an older community, but it's high-end, and it's right in Summerlin on Billionaires Row. In fact, the Summit Club, the billionaire community, is right across the street, and Sienna is right next door to where they say they're going to put in Hollywood 2.0. That should be interesting. Now, I like Regency out in Summerlin. That's a great community. It's a bit more upscale, a little higher price than some of the other ones. It's guard-gated, and it was built by Toll Brothers. They have high ceilings, and I enjoy working in that neighborhood. I've had a number of clients that moved in there. The heritage communities are also pretty interesting. Of course, we've got a video on the one in Summerlin, right next to Red Rock Canyon. But there's also a heritage next to Lake Las Vegas in a neighborhood called Cadence, and they even have, and both neighborhoods have RV garages. However, Cadence seems to have more available. So if you're looking for a 55 plus community with an RV garage, we have those here in town as well. Now there's both of the Trilogy communities. There's one in Summerlin, right across from Sienna, and then there's another Trilogy community out on 95 North, right before you get to the Lee Canyon turnoff. Now both of these communities have kind of an attached design, more of a townhouse. They're contemporary, so they look very cool, but they're not detached units. The HOAs there are pretty high because the association takes care of all of the outside maintenance. There's no outside maintenance for you. And the programming by Shea Homes, who won awards, is considered to be very good. So they do have a very good product. It just doesn't fit with everyone. And but if you're looking for a maintenance-free lifestyle, and if you've got the money for the more expensive homeowners association and can see the trade-off and the value, then one of the Trilogy communities might be for you. And then I always like to mention Solera. That is one of the lowest cost homeowners association, and the community is beautiful. It's older. It's out near Sun City Anthem in Henderson, but I love Solera. It's right up against Black Mountain on the southeast side of town, and they have really nice people there, nice homes, and it's very affordable. And they are very nice people. In fact, the last time I was there doing video, they kind of kicked me out of the clubhouse a little bit, but they did it in a very nice way. I got to meet the president of the homeowners association. We chatted for a bit, and he assured me that their reserve funding is tight, and so they've really been watching their budget over there at Solera, and so it gave me a lot of confidence to recommend that community to you guys. Now, not all retirees are golfers. In fact, most retirees are not golfers, but all of these communities just have incredible social activities, and there are other popular activities like arts and crafts and games and music and theater There are so many different types of programs available at these 55 plus communities. It's really something. They really work hard to keep everyone busy and socially engaged, which is critical, as you know. Now, fact is, more older adults are living alone. This is why I'm kind of bringing back up about all of this social engagement. It's very important, and I'm bringing it up again because of it. Now, while all people that live alone are not lonely, loneliness is the second biggest risk factor behind death of a spouse, according to 2 studies a decade apart. It's serious. Now, a Census Bureau survey shows that more people over 65 are living alone, and it's a number that's growing. In fact, more than a quarter of the people over 65 live alone, and in fact, more women than men live alone, as you can see by this survey. And I have found that true in my experience. I've worked with a number of single women over 65 who lived alone, and I really feel good about helping them into these 55 plus communities. It's really important for that social engagement. Anyway, once we've narrowed down the community that you'd like to live in, now it comes down to actually finding a good home for you within that community. And that's what we're getting ready to explore next. Well, friends, we're at phase 4, finding your home. Now, buying a home in Las Vegas is competitive even for retirees. It's important to work with a knowledgeable real estate agent. If the home is good and it's priced correctly, it's going to sell fast. Now, before we start looking, it's important to discuss the pre-approval process if you're thinking about getting a loan. Number 1, pre-approval. Now, if you're thinking about getting a loan to buy your home, it's important to first get a pre-approval from a lender. Now, you can use your own lender, or I've got several that work very well with my clients, depending on what their personal situation is. I have many people I work with, but it's important to get a pre-approval if you're getting a loan because you need to know how much you can buy. It's very important to be able to stay within a budget, to know what you're looking for, how much you can get approved for, what your monthly payments are going to be, and so forth. And that's a very important. We don't want to waste time looking in areas, or looking at homes that are going to be beyond what your budget can afford. The last thing I want you to do is fall in love with a home that is going to be over budget for you. Now, if it's cash, we don't need a pre-approval process. However, if we're looking at homes around the $1 million range, many sellers want to see that pre-approval or some type of proof of funds before they even show the home. So that's something to think about. And of course, anytime we make an offer on a home, we're always going to need to include that pre-approval or proof of funds. So that's just something we like to talk about before we get going, so we make sure we're looking in the right areas. And that leads us right into determining your budget. And you have to decide whether a traditional home, an over 55 community, or a condo with a larger HOA is a good fit for you or not. And figure out how much it's going to cost, what kind of money you're going to have to put out if you're paying cash, or if you're getting a loan, what are the monthly payments going to be. It's important to look at all of those variables. And that's another benefit of the pre-approval process because it's going to help you determine what your final budget's going to be. Well, now the next step is selecting a local agent. Now, whoever you choose, you're going to want somebody who's seasoned, experienced in real estate, and experienced in life, and knows the neighborhoods, especially when it comes to the 55 plus communities. You're going to want someone that will guide you through the process and be a protector. Now, I don't have a lot of young clients, but I do have some. And one, I asked, why did you choose me? Because typically, people my age choose me, and younger people typically don't know that I exist. That's kind of how it is as we age. But I asked this younger client who chose me why, and his response was that his dad told him that more wrinkles on the face means fewer wrinkles on the deal. I love that. And I told him I can't argue with that. Now, as we're touring properties, we want to focus on the features that are going to meet our needs. We're going to have a checklist. We're going to have a checklist of must-haves and like-to-haves, and we're really wanting to focus on the must-haves. The like-to-haves are nice, but no matter what neighborhood we go into or which home we buy, there's always going to be a little bit of a trade-off somewhere. So it's important to keep our goals and objectives in mind. I love using a checklist for that. We really don't want to get swayed by a bunch of flashy extras that don't add value to the property or increase the quality of your life. Either one. Those are the important factors. I help you look for deal breakers that would make a resale difficult. I keep an eye open for those things. And no house is going to be perfect. There's always going to be trade-offs, but there are some deal breakers, and I'm going to help you watch out for those. Now, I have people call me that are ready to go right away, and we roll up our sleeves and get going. But a lot of people that call me are about a year out, and they just kind of want to learn the area a little bit, look at some homes, and that's perfectly okay too. I don't put pressure on anyone's time frame. When you're ready to buy, you're ready. If you decide this is not the place for you, that's fine. Just feel free to call. I'm really not high pressure. I like to stay in touch with people. I don't ghost my clients. Now, if you're a year out, that's no problem. I have people that call me that are ready to go, and we roll up our sleeves and get to work right away. But a lot of people that call me are about a year out, and they want to look at areas and explore, or come visit a couple of times and check out the vibe in the different areas that I have on my videos, and that's perfectly okay too. I don't rush people. I don't, this is not a process that can be rushed. You're going to be ready to buy a home when you're ready. And when you're ready to go, as I said, I roll these sleeves up and we get to work. I don't work until we find one. And sometimes I've looked at 10, 12, 15 homes in one day, and until it gets dark and we can't see anymore in some cases. If that's what it needs, no problem. I like to work. If you call me, you're calling someone with an old-fashioned work ethic. I can read and write in cursive, and I like to get things done. So when we're ready to go, we are gonna get to work and make things happen. Okay, when you found a property that you love, the next step is crafting the perfect offer that's gonna make that happen for you. Well, friends, we're at phase 5. We've found the home that you think you like, and it's time to make an offer. In a competitive market like Las Vegas, crafting a good offer can make or break your home purchase. Now, the first thing that has to happen is some research has to be done. The first thing that has to happen is some research. Now, the first order of business before we even make an offer is to research the data. We want to research comparable sales. Now, you want to work with your agent to analyze recent sales in your target area. And we do this to ensure that our offer is competitive. Now, if you want to get the home, oftentimes there's a fine line between paying too much and offering too little. As a former systems analyst and software developer, I like to crunch the numbers. I like to look at the data. The data tells us what we want to know. Recent market data is especially important. We not only need to know about pricing, but also the listing to sales ratios. Now once I've pulled up the market analysis, I usually like to even go further and do a little bit of commentary on the data so that we really understand the numbers and what we're looking at. Beyond price, we can strengthen or sweeten our offers by adding extra earnest money if necessary. We can offer flexible closing dates, and potentially we can waive certain contingencies. Normally, I don't recommend waiving inspection or appraisal contingencies. Those are important components of an offer. There are a lot of other ways to get an offer accepted and keep my clients protected. Sometimes it's just a simple matter of communications. I like to ask the selling agent, what does the seller want? Sometimes that's a simple question that people just don't ask. And sometimes all the seller wants is something very simple. We want to use a certain title company. I want this to happen. I need to, stay in the house a little longer beyond the date. Whatever the case might be, it's important to ask. And that communication is not just important between me and my client, but me and the selling agent, so we can figure out the best way to proceed. Sometimes what they're asking is so simple, it's just silly not to just say, here, we'll go ahead and use your title company on this. Let's get the deal done. If we keep our eyes and ears open, oftentimes something very small can make a big difference in getting an offer accepted. As I mentioned, communication is key. A good agent will present your offer persuasively to the seller's agent, emphasizing your seriousness and qualifications. My job is to convince the selling agent that we're serious and we're going to get the deal done. A few years ago, the market was so hot, my partner and I used to actually have to tag team listing agents to get deals done. One of us would stay busy with the buyers, and the other one would work the agent and instill confidence that we were going to get the deal done. And that still actually has to happen between the buyer's agent and the listing agent. And this is where good communication is paramount. Now, after your offer is accepted, it's time to dive into the next phase, navigating escrow and inspections. And we're getting ready to break that down right now. Well, friends, now we're at phase 6, navigating escrow and inspections. Now, escrow is where all the behind-the-scenes work happens to finalize your purchase. And this is also your chance to ensure that the home is in good condition. Technically, you haven't bought a house until this house closes. So this is our chance to check things out. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, it starts off with an escrow timeline. Now, typical escrow periods in Las Vegas run from 30 to 45 days with deadlines for inspections and contingencies. Now, I've done deals in as little as 9 days, and cash deals can go very quickly. But typically, if you're getting a loan, in most cases, they want about 30 days to close the loan, although I have seen some exceptions and some very good hardworking loan officers that have gotten it done in a much shorter time, but that's not common. Now, in addition to using a transaction manager to make sure all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, I keep an escrow calendar. And that keeps track of all of our important days and deadlines. It sends us reminders as various timelines expire. Why is that important? Well, now following these contractual deadlines and timelines to a T will ensure that we'll be able to do that should the need arise. Now, there are many ways out of a contract for a buyer, but if the buyer performs, the seller has to honor that accepted offer or they will be contractually liable. Now, the first thing that's going to happen is you'll get some wiring instructions from escrow, and we'll wire the money into the escrow company, the earnest money deposit. Now, after wiring in the earnest money deposit to the escrow company, the first thing we do is schedule inspections and check for repairs or any other issues the house may have. Now, I've got lots of inspectors. I can give you 3 names and you can call them yourself. Typically, buyers ask me, Micah, just go ahead and call an inspector that can get it done and done well. Now, after wiring in the earnest money deposit to the escrow company, it's time to schedule an inspection and check for repairs or any other issues that the house may have. Now, for older homes, we want to pay special attention to the HVAC or air conditioning systems and roofing, and sometimes we even have to run cameras down some pipes and check the plumbing. Now, I have an older home, and I know that older homes can run into a little bit more problems, and I really like to hit those hard with inspections so we know what we have. Now, if there are problems, most of them are not a big deal. We don't really want to worry about small things that we can go down to Home Depot and fix for 30 or 50 bucks or something like that. What we're concerned about are big issues and deal breakers. Every home is going to have maintenance issues. Even brand new homes have long punch lists. So every home you're going to find issues. And the main thing is we don't want to find any issues that we consider deal breakers, that where it needs a new roof or the air conditioner is out or some other issue that is not repairable or practically repairable. So that is what we're looking for on these. Now, if inspections uncover problems, we can negotiate repairs or request credits. Now, it's important to remember that during due diligence, we can cancel the deal for any reason if we find something we're not happy with and get our earnest money back. And if there's a homeowners association, and most homes in Las Vegas do have homeowners associations, it's now time to examine the documents that go along with those. They call them the CIC documents, and that stands for Common Interest Community. Now, these documents come in 2 parts. Now, the seller has to buy these documents. The buyer pays for inspections and appraisals if necessary, but the seller pays for the CIC documents, the HOA rules, and the financial statement. So these documents come in 2 parts. One is all the rules and covenants. We want to read those over and make sure there are, again, no deal breakers for our particular needs. Now, there's nothing usually too crazy in these documents, but there are some neighborhoods where they might not let you park on the street at night. That might be an issue. So if that's something that's really important, if you have a lot of overnight guests, you have multiple vehicles, and one of them has to end up on the street, you want to make sure that you're not in a neighborhood that prevents that. Now, my HOA has no problem with us parking in the street, but my previous HOA didn't allow it overnight. So it just depends on the association, and you have to check all the rules to make sure that they fit with your lifestyle and your needs. Now, the second set of documents are also very important. That's called the demand statement. And what the demand statement is an up-to-date financial statement that shows what the reserves are for the association. They have to keep a certain amount of reserves in an account to take care of problems, and by law they need a certain amount depending on the HOA. And so we need to look at those documents and make sure that everything looks good, like they have enough money in the bank, that there's not pending litigation that could be serious problems in the future, or an assessment coming up. If there is an assessment, or if there's an assessment coming up, we want to know about it. We want to know how much it's going to be and if that's going to be a deal breaker or not. So these are the things that we look at when we examine these HOA documents, or the CIC documents as they're called during the transaction. So the HOA documents come pretty quickly, and the next step in the process is getting the appraisal. Now, if the home is being financed, the bank is going to order an appraisal. And this is something that the buyer pays for. If the appraisal doesn't meet our agreed upon value, it's time to renegotiate. Now, once the inspections are complete, the next big step is securing that financing and completing the appraisal process. And we're going to talk about that in our next section. Friends, we are at phase 7, the financing and appraisal process. Now, the appraisal and the final loan process are critical steps to ensure that your purchase goes through smoothly. Now the key points here are: 1, the appraisal process. Now the lender is going to order an appraisal to make sure that the agreed upon purchase price is in alignment with the home's value based on the scientific standards that the appraisers have. They're not only looking in the sales in the MLS, they're looking at private sales as well. Now if the appraisal process comes in low, this is where we need to either renegotiate with the seller or adjust our financing. This does happen sometimes. If the appraisal meets the agreed upon price, we'll get that report back from the appraiser. If it's lower, then we have a little bit of work to do. We might be able to get the house for a little bit less than we thought. We have to renegotiate. I like it when that happens with a buyer. And then we have the final loan approval. Now, I know you're saying that, hey, I got pre-approved already. Yes, that's pre-approval. However, the approval process goes throughout the entire escrow period. Now, the lender is probably going to be asking you for a variety of forms and additional proof and this and that, and it can be a bit onerous, but don't take it personal. They're not picking on you. It's just, that's how they do everyone. That's just part of the process. We want to make sure to get them any document they request as quickly as possible so that we don't delay the process ourselves. And during escrow, rule number 1, don't finance anything else. Don't buy a car. Don't go out and finance furniture for the house. Don't finance construction for one of the remodeling projects that you see there. Don't finance anything, because that could materially change the loan approval. It may cause the loan to be not approved if you do that. The main thing is that you don't want to change anything about your financial situation. Don't change your source of income unless it's something that goes up much higher. The main takeaway here is to make sure that your financial situation doesn't change or worsen during the escrow period. Because at the very end of escrow, they do a final check. If things aren't the same at the end, that could cause your loan to be not approved at the end of the process, and you don't want that to happen. So just leave your financial situation alone, get the documents they request as quickly as possible, and it'll likely be, and everything will work out fine. Now, it's important to plan for closing costs. Now, if you're getting a loan, those costs are generally wrapped up in all of the loan, and you're not going to see extra money going out of your pocket, but all these costs and fees are just put into the loan. However, if you're paying cash, you have to come up with a little bit of extra money to pay these fees. Now, these costs typically include title insurance, lender fees, escrow fees, recording fees, be a notary fee in there. So a lot of small little things. The biggest expense probably is maybe the lender fee and the title policies. Now, the seller pays the new buyer's owner policy, and the buyer pays the lender policy to the lender. And that way the title's insured all the way around. Anyway, give me a call. I'll help you figure this out. If you're paying cash, the buyer gets to avoid paying the lender policy because there's no lender. So that is a savings when you're paying cash. Anyway, give me a call. I'll help you figure all this stuff out. On around $670,000, my last buyer, it was cash, paid, about $4,000 in change in closing costs. So it's not too bad. Now for senior citizens downsizing or moving to a 55 plus community, there are several financial products and strategies available beyond traditional mortgages. Now these options can help you manage cash flow, move assets, or access funds temporarily. Now typically first-time home buyers don't need this. Now I have had first-time home buyers in their 60s, so there's always an exception to the rule. But typically the people I get need some creative products to help move things around a little bit while they're switching homes. Now, number 1, I want to talk about bridge loans. Now bridge loans are designed for short-term financing. They bridge the gap between selling your current home and purchasing a new one. Now these can be ideal if you need funds for a down payment on the new home before the sale of your current home is finalized. Usually we see these loans issued as interest only, and they are paid off quickly as soon as the home sells. Number 2, a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Now these can provide flexibility so that you can withdraw payments for moving funds or even use as a down payment. Now HELOCs are usually paid off when the home is sold, and thereby avoiding any long-term debt. Number 3, a reverse mortgage for purchase. They call this a home equity conversion mortgage. Now these involve no monthly payments, though you must pay property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and HOA fees. The borrower needs to meet the age requirements of 62 or older, and the home they purchase must meet FHA standards. Number 4, a cash out refi. Now if you home your own outright or have lots of equity, a cash out refi provides funds for your move or the purchase of a new home. This option might be more suitable if you don't plan to sell your home immediately. Next, we have a bank statement loan. Now, these are useful for people who rely on non-traditional sources of income, such as investments or retirement income. or even small businesses. The qualification is based on bank statements, usually 12 to 24 months, and not based on W-2 earnings. So it provides a lot of flexibility for people with non-traditional incomes or, small business owners or something like that. These can come in very handy. But this is where a good chat with your CPA is very important. Oftentimes people have their taxes calculated so that it minimizes their income so they can avoid legally paying taxes. There are different legal ways that CPAs can shuffle the deck for you. So anyway, talk to your CPA ahead of time. Make sure that they're maximizing your income instead of minimizing your taxes. I know that's going to be a little painful for a while, but if you want to get a bank statement loan, you're going to want to show the most amount of income as possible. And of course, savings or investment accounts. I have many clients that pay cash for their, 55 and older home or other homes. A lot of my clients are older and, I get a lot of cash buyers. Now, if you're able to liquidate or pull money out of a savings account or some investment account without incurring penalties, you can avoid taking on debt entirely. This is a great option for some people. Now, the next item we want to talk about is a sale leaseback arrangement. Now, this is where you sell your home, but you lease it back from the buyer temporarily while you're searching for a new home and making other arrangements. A sale leaseback arrangement provides instant liquidity while allowing you time to move and close on your new home. Now, the next item on our list is a 401k or an IRA rollover loan. Some seniors may choose to borrow against your own retirement accounts, provided you can replenish the money and pay it back quickly after the sale of your home. Now, this option again requires caution and discussion with your CPA or financial planner to avoid any kind of tax penalties or tax consequences. It's important to talk to all your professionals when making a move like this. Now, the next item up is a shared equity agreement. Now, that's when an investment company invests in your home for a share of the equity when it sells. Now, this option is less common, but it can provide some upfront cash without a loan. Next item on the list is private lending or a family loan. I recently had a client that had very supportive family members, and they ended up offering her a loan to help her get into a new house while her old home was selling. Now, this requires a clear agreement, and that's exactly what my client's family did. They made up an actual loan agreement that had all the bells and whistles that went through the title company and had a lender's policy put in place on, to protect the title. So if you're fortunate enough to have a generous and, wealthy enough family to be able to do that, it's also important for your family to make sure that everything is done correctly, all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed when it comes to lending family money. And so anyway, this can work out in some situations. And then the last item on our list is an asset depletion loan, where that requires a big bank account, and basically you take a loan out against yourself and then the loan is paid off, depleting the asset a little bit over time. Again, we don't see this very often, but it can be an option for seniors. Now, what are the other factors to consider? One, the timeline. How quickly are funds needed to purchase a new home? Number two, what are the costs and fees and interest rates associated with these products? Because I can tell you, the short-term products generally have higher interest rates. Normally people don't care that much because they're expected to pay them off quickly. It's not like a long-term obligation with high interest rates. It's a short-term obligation. And also flexibility. It depends on your comfort level of taking out temporary debt or accessing equity. Finally, your financial goals. What are the long-term plans for your assets and your cash flow? All of these things play into which one of these products would work best for you. If you'd like more information, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk to you about it. I'm happy to connect you with a lender that can help you with one of these interesting products. But these are not typically the kind of products that a first-time homebuyer would have access to. Again, one of the benefits of being a bit older. Now, with your financing securely in place, let's move on to preparing for the final walkthrough and closing day. Friends, we are at Phase 8, the final walkthrough and closing. Now, the final walkthrough and closing are the last steps before the home officially becomes yours. Now, you've already been getting utilities in your name, and you'll probably already have insurance in place by now. Loans require insurance, so it's usually a good idea to start a little bit early on that. Now, the final walkthrough is fairly simple. We just go through the house and make sure that it's in the same condition as it was in when we made the offer on the house. And if there are any repairs that have been made, it's time to check and make sure that those have been done correctly. In fact, we can often get the inspector to come back out and do a re-inspection and make sure things have been done well. Now, here is where you get my list of service professionals. I keep a long list of all kinds of service professionals. I'm talking about contractors, I'm talking about handymen, painters, cleaners, landscapers, plumbers. I have people that'll put in your reverse osmosis and water softeners. I've got people for just about anything. I have a team of people, and I like sharing that information. People say information is power, and they hold back information. I think we get more power from sharing and not holding back. So I share my list of professionals with all my clients. I want them to be well taken care of. Now, closing day used to be a lot more exciting, but now it can be a little anticlimactic. I love going to the title company and sitting down with my buyers and signing papers with them at the title office. But so often nowadays, the title companies want things to be done remotely. And so oftentimes, everything's been done by closing day. All the papers have been already signed oftentimes. And on closing day, we're just waiting to hear from the title company to make sure all their work is done. We're waiting to hear from the loan company to make sure, we're waiting to hear from the bank to make sure all their work is done. And when it is, we get an email from the title company that says that the transaction has been released to record. And what they mean by that, it's been released to the county, Clark County, to record in the county records. And then we wait. And shortly thereafter, the same day, we get an email back that says you have been recorded. Congratulations. And it comes with a copy of the deed. And what I do is print that deed out for you because we're going to need that for the next step. Now it's time to go get the keys. And if you're in an HOA, we got to bring the copy of the deed with me, and we'll go over to the clubhouse or the HOA office and get your transponders for your car, or sometimes it's just a digital code that you need to put in to open a gate to get into the community, whatever you need. And so after I have the deed, after I have a copy of the deed printed in hand, I meet you at the house. We go get the keys. We run over to the HOA office or the clubhouse, and we sit down and get you registered as a new resident. And they'll take all your personal information. If there's transponders for your car, that's where you get those typically. Sometimes it's just a code for the gate, so it just kind of depends on the neighborhood. But whatever it is, we will make sure that we get you in there and taken care of and get you registered as a new resident so that you can get in and out of your community with ease. Congratulations, you're now a homeowner. This is when you own the home, when you've got that deed in your hand. Now you're a new homeowner. Congratulations. Now, after closing, it's time to settle into your new home and start enjoying all that Las Vegas has to offer. After all, that's why people come here, is to enjoy all of the great things that we have here. Friends, we're at phase 9, moving and settling in. Moving to a new city, even Las Vegas for retirement, can feel overwhelming. Here are some downsizing tips that'll help you prepare for the move and make the process seamless. Number 1, start early. Begin decluttering and organizing well before the move to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Next time, prioritize the essentials. Focus on keeping items that you use daily or that hold deep sentimental value. Measure your new space. It's important to measure the space and know the dimensions of your new home to decide what furniture and belongings are going to fit in it. Embrace minimalism. Take this opportunity to simplify your lifestyle by letting go of things that you no longer need. Involve family. Offer keepsakes to family members as a meaningful way to share your history. It doesn't always work out that way. We've got some china, none of the kids want it, so it just depends on what the keepsakes are, I suppose. But, it's important to start the process off early. We're not even yet. We've downsized once, we've got to do it again, and we're even getting started in the process doing these things right now ourselves. Here's a good one. Use technology. Digitize the photos and the documents to reduce the physical storage need. We've got a pile of them that came in from another family member. We've got to get those digitized. And it takes up an entire dresser. So yeah, that's a big thing. It's going to be very important to get those on a format that takes up no space. Hire help if needed. Now, I have professionals that do packing and unpacking here. They'll take pictures, take inventory of what they put in the box. They are very good about helping people organize on both sides, and very reliable. So I'm sure if you're in another state and you need that, there's probably somebody there that's just as good. But it's very important to hire help if you need it. I always believe in calling a professional. Sometimes the whole process can be overwhelming, and having a helper can make a huge difference. Focus on the amenities of the community. Remember that your new community likely offers shared spaces and amenities that will likely take the place of not only some of your possessions, but many of your routines. It's something to think about. Plan for the future. Choose only the items that support your new lifestyle. Make your space easy to navigate. And lastly, stay positive. Downsizing is a step towards a simpler, more manageable, and more enjoyable life. Now, once you're here, you got to get set up in Vegas. First thing you might want to do is, if you're 62, think about going to UNLV. It's free. That's a great benefit to register for. Also, if you're 62 and if you don't have one, get a lifetime pass to the U.S. national parks. There are so many in the desert Southwest, you're going to want to have that pass handy because you get in for free. Explore the healthcare options. I've got people that can handle Medicare or group or individual health insurance. If you need a referral, let me know. I will be happy to assist you. Connect with community groups at the 55 Plus Clubhouse or elsewhere. If you're not in an over 55 neighborhood, there are many other community groups to connect with. I've got one of my clients, I was inquiring about her recently, and I asked if she was getting involved in the Clubhouse community events there, and she said, well, there's so many other things going on in Las Vegas that she wants to take advantage of those now, and when she gets a little bit older, she's planning to go all in on the Clubhouse. So I think that's a great way to step into things. There are so many things in Las Vegas to do and get involved in and take a part of that may be an option for you. Now, if you're still working or have a small business, join business groups. There are business networking groups, the Chamber of Commerce, all kinds of interesting groups that you can join that will help your work or business. I'm in 2 business networking groups, and it's a great way to meet people. There are a number of community groups all over town. You can check out Meetup, check around, find out what you're interested in, and look around. I've got a friend who loves Jeeps. She goes Jeeping. In fact, she runs a Jeep club here in town. They go all off in the hills with friends with Jeeps, and they go off-roading, and it's fun. I've got another friend who gets involved in improv comedy here in town, and it's just a hobby, and it's a great little group to be involved with. There's groups all over. There is something for every interest. And like I said, check out Meetup. Meetup is a great place to meet people. I don't want you to think that you only have to be in 55 plus communities to be social. That's not true. It just makes it a lot easier, is all I'm saying. I have a lot of friends that are not in 55 plus, and they get involved with a variety of community groups by checking out Meetup. And then if you're not sure, ask me. I have a lot of friends. I've got friends from A to Z that do all kinds of interesting things. If you're looking for a hookup, ask me. There's a good chance that I'll know somebody that is in some type of group that's exactly what you're interested in. I'm happy to help. Okay, now is the time. You've moved here, you're getting hooked up, you're getting connected, you're getting settled in, you're getting all your benefits. Now it's time to start having fun. That's what you moved to Las Vegas for. Start checking out the entertainment, the food scene. Check out the sports scene and check out the outdoor life. It's incredible. You're not going to want to miss it. There are so many things going on here in Las Vegas. It's an exciting place to live. And if you're living here now, you're a lucky person. At least that's how I feel about it. I feel lucky to be a local. Next step is get domiciled, right? That might take a little bit. Talk to your CPA, talk to your financial planner. Make sure that the state that you're moving here from isn't going to keep their claws into you and try to get taxes from you after you've left. You want to make sure to do it right. I had a CPA that commented on my YouTube channel one time. He said, one of the things you might want to do is read what that state requires, the state that you're coming from requires for being domiciled, and make sure to do the opposite of every one of those things. Undo every one of those things. I thought that was a great idea. But anyway, check with your CPA or financial planner. Make sure you do it right. Don't get caught in the double tax trap. Next thing you want to do is get a homestead exemption. What's that? Well, if you're moving here and this is your primary home, when you record a declaration of homestead, and it's free, you just need to notarize it. I'm happy to supply the form if you need it. Nevada law protects the equity in your home up to $650,000. In the event of a judgment or a suit or something like that, somebody can't sue you and take away equity under $650,000. That's a great protection to have. Like I said, make connections, join the clubs, get in there, get involved, make friends, find people that you have things in common with, and enjoy. Connect, interconnect, get to know people. People in Las Vegas are from all over, and most people are really wanting to get to know you as well, is what I have found. Find out what the locals here in Las Vegas care about. You'll find that it's quite a bit different than what tourists care about. Retiring and moving to Las Vegas is an exciting step, but it's not without its challenges. I know how challenging this process can be. Now, if you're ready to make the move or ready to even just start looking, and maybe you're a ways out, that's fine. Just give me a call. I'm here. I'm happy to help. Together, we're going to find your perfect home and start your retirement journey here in Las Vegas with confidence. My name's Micah Bleecher, and I'm always here to help you find the perfect place to call home.